Hey guys, and welcome back to another lesson on fractions. My name is Miss Danielson, and today we're adding and subtracting fractions. Let's get started. And just look at all my monies. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 monies. I'll bet somebody played this trick on you when you were younger. They said, I'll give you these 3 monies and just keep this one. And surely you might have said, oh, I get 3 monies, they have 1 money. If I know my math, I have more money than they do. Now we know that's not the case. We know that each of these coins represents some fraction of a whole, that is, some fraction of a full euro. It takes 2 50-cent pieces to make 1 euro. That means 1 50-cent piece is half of a euro. It takes 5 20-cent pieces to make 1 euro. That means 1 20-cent piece is 1/5 of a euro. It takes 10 10-cent pieces to make 1 euro. So that means that 1 10-cent piece is 1/10 of a euro. And how many 5-cent pieces does it take to make a euro? Go ahead and count them if you need to. Remember, a euro is 100 cents. It takes 20 5-cent pieces to make 1 full euro. So that means that 5 cents is 1/20th of a euro. Now I can compare my different coins, but I know they don't have the same value. The size of the denominator, that's the bottom number, the 20, the 10, the 5, and the 2, tell me how many of these coins it would take to make 1 full euro. And the numerator, that's the top numbers, tell me how many of these pieces of a whole I have. So if it takes 20 pieces to make up 1 whole, 1/20th is much less than, for example, 1/2. In order to compare or add fractions, we need to have common denominators. Luckily for money, we tend to think of coins as being some fraction of 100 cents. 5 cents is clearly 5 out of 100 cents. 10 cents is clearly 10 out of 100 cents. And 20 cents is clearly 20 out of 100. And 50 cents is clearly 50 out of 100 of a euro. Since we have a common denominator here, in all cases these are over 100, we can add these fractions together to find out how much money I actually have. 5 hundredths plus 10 hundredths plus 20 hundredths plus 50 hundredths. How many cents would that be? How many hundredths of a euro would that be? I know that there's 100 cents in a euro, and 5 plus 10 plus 20 plus 50 gives me 85. So I've got 85 hundredths of a euro. Now I can write this fraction as the decimal that you're used to seeing for money. That's 85 hundredths of a euro, because the 5 is in the hundredths position. Or you could also say that that's 85 cents. Now with money, since cents are always part of 100 cents to a euro, we knew that we could get a common denominator of 100. Let's try an example where we're not so sure what that common denominator should be. So for example, 4/7 plus 3/5. To find a common denominator, we need to find some common multiple from the 7 and 5's times table. So you know your 7's times table, 7, 14, 21, and so on. And you know your 5's times table, 5, 10, 15, and so on. Find the first match. One match that you will always find is by multiplying each denominator by the other. 7 times 5 will always be the same thing as 5 times 7. And in that case, we've got 35 as our common denominator. But if I'm going to multiply the 7 by 5, I must also multiply the 4 by 5. We must multiply both the denominator and the numerator by the same value to form an equivalent fraction. So 4 times 5 was 20, 7 times 5 was 35. In the case of the other fraction, I did not multiply that fraction by 5. I multiplied the 5 by 7 to get the 35, so we need to multiply the 3 by 7 as well, which gives me 21. Once we've got a common denominator, That's the denominator that we'll have for our answer. We don't add or subtract the denominators. We keep the denominator the same, and we just add or subtract the numerators. In this question, we're adding the fractions, so let's add those numerators. I know it's going to be something over 35. I'll do the 20 plus the 21, and I'll put that answer over 35. So that's 41 over 35. But watch out, this answer is not complete. Don't forget to simplify your answers. This fraction can be simplified. You may not find a common factor that you could divide both 41 and 35 by. However, it is top heavy. That is that the numerator, the top number, is bigger than the denominator, the bottom number. So let's turn this into a mixed number. How many 35s are there in 41? 1 times 35 is 35. 2 times 35 would be too much. But 1 times 35 is not quite enough. 35 is 6 less than it needs to be. So we've got a remainder of 6. We've got 1 whole 35 in 41 and a remainder of 6, which we will put over the denominator 35. That's our mixed number. Now, if you need more practice with mixed numbers and improper fractions, I'll link a lesson down for you in the description box below, so please check that out. Whether you're adding or subtracting will always need a common denominator. So in this example, 7/8 minus 3/4, I want to get a common denominator, so a common multiple of 8 and 4. I know my 8's timetables are 8, 16, 24, and so on. I know my 4's timetables are 4, 8. 8 is in the 4's timetable. So I don't need to change this denominator at all. I'll just multiply the 4 by 2 to get 8. And if I'm multiplying the denominator by 2, I must multiply the numerator by 2 as well. So that's going to be 7/8 minus 6/8, because 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 2 is 8. Now that we have a common denominator, that's the denominator we're going to use for our answer. Let's just add, or in this case, subtract our numerators. The denominator stays the same. So we're going to do 7 minus 6 as the numerator, and that's going to go over the denominator, which is 8. 7 minus 6, that's 1. So our answer is 1/8. Just check that your answer is fully simplified, and it is. I can't divide 1 by any common factor that I could also divide 8 by. They could only both be divided by 1, and the fraction would stay the same like that. So we're done. Let's try another example, but this time, let's have a look at an example that could actually end up being negative. 4/9 minus 7/12. Again, we need a common denominator if we want to add or subtract fractions. So think of your 9's timetable, 9, 18, 27, and so on. Then think of your 12's timetable, 12, 24, 36. 36 sounds familiar. It's in the 9's timetable. 9 times 4 is 36, and 12 times 3 is 36. So I've done 9 times 4 gives me 36, and 4 times 4 gives me the 16. And then I did 12 times 3 gave me 36, and 7 times 3 gave me 21. So I now have a common denominator, and that's the denominator of our answer. Our answer will have a denominator of 36. The numerators need to be subtracted. So I'll do 16 minus 21 at the top, and 36 is my denominator at the bottom. Now 21 is bigger than 16, so our answer is going to be negative. To perform this calculation mentally, you may want to do 21 minus 16, but then remember, we already said the answer will be negative because we're taking a big number from a small number. 21 minus 16 is 5, so 16 minus 21 is negative 5. That's negative 5 over 36. We could also write that as the fraction negative 5 over 36, because of course when we divide a negative number by a positive number, the result is negative, so it's a negative fraction. Again, check that you can simplify. 5 could only be divided by 1 and 5, and 36 can't be divided by 5, so that is simplified, or done. Time for some practice now. So go ahead and hit pause, copy these questions out, get yourself a common denominator. Remember, you're looking for the lowest common multiple of these denominators. And whatever you multiply the denominators by, you must multiply the numerators by as well. Then when you're going to add or subtract these fractions, do these operations one at a time. So in question 1, for example, I'll get a common denominator for these 3 fractions, and then I'll do the addition of these 2 fractions. Once I've got that answer, I'm going to add it to this last fraction. Okay, so hit pause and give that a go, and push play when you're ready to take up your answers. I hope you've had a chance to hit pause, because here come our answers. First, we got our common denominators, so I'll show that step for all 5 questions first. The common denominator for the first one was just 10. I didn't need to change that first fraction at all. I times the 5 by 2, so I times the 3 by 2. I times the 2 by 5, so I times the 1 by 5. For the second one, my lowest common multiple was 20. 4 times 5, 2 times 10, and 5 times 4. For the third question, our lowest common multiple was 60. 3 times 20, 5 times 12, and 4 times 15. For the fourth one, again, my lowest common multiple was 60. 10 times 6, 4 times 15, and 3 times 20. And for question 5, our lowest common multiple was 12. 3 times 4, 2 times 6, and 4 times 3. Now that we have our common denominators, we can add our numerators. Again, if you can simplify, you must simplify. For question 1, I can divide both the 18 and the 10 by 2. And for question 2, I can divide both the 24 and the 20 by 4. But notice I can still simplify all of these answers. They're all still top-heavy. Now, if you still need some practice on converting improper or top-heavy fractions into mixed numbers, check out that link down below in the description box. Next, we're doing some subtractions. First, we'll get common denominators. We've already got a common denominator for question 7. Then we'll subtract our numerators and simplify if you can. Now, 1/10, we can't simplify that, no common factor. 1/5 can't be simplified either. 11/30, we can't simplify either. 2/10, however, I can divide both top and bottom by 2, so that's 1/5. As 7/20, we cannot simplify. So how did that go for you? Hopefully it was fairly straightforward, but I hope this lesson gave you a few good reminders and some good practice. If you have any questions or concerns, please leave me a comment down in the comment section down below. Otherwise, well done, keep practicing, and I'll see you soon.